Q1, which is the April to June quarter in India's financial year, is clearly going to see a sequential growth hit. We've seen lockdowns or stringent restrictions across few states. Other states have largely stuck to more of weekend restrictions or night curfews. But cases do remain high in some of the more populated states. So we do expect more restrictions to come through. So this is definitely going to impact activity in April and also in May. And we can see that in some of the very high frequency indicators with mobility taking a hit, passenger and railway freight taking a hit. But I think it's also important to take a step back and not to generalize this as India's growth outlook for the full year. The restrictions and people becoming more cautious is starting to have some positive effect at the margin in terms of the rate of increase in new infection cases. And we could see a peak in the daily new cases in India in sometime in May. Also, while we are facing a significant vaccine shortage in the months of April as well as in May, there is a big plan to ramp up on vaccinations after June. So I think it's more of a 2-month, maybe 3-month hit to sequential activity, but not beyond that. And, also just to flag that unlike the first wave, the restrictions are more localized. The impact is going to be a lot more on services rather than the goods side of the economy.
Yeah, I think just like you are highlighting, we had Taimur Beg of DBS Bank also earlier on saying the same thing, that don't compare it year on year to the contraction and the dire situation that we witnessed in Q1 of last financial year, FY21. If the IMF's projections are 12.5% growth for India for FY 2022, how much would that number be revised lower? How much are you working with in terms of the intensity of the impact in Q1 that can impact or slow down the overall growth for the year as a whole?
So for Q1 of this financial year, we earlier had expected a positive sequential momentum. Given what we've seen, we've now revised that down, now expecting a contraction of about 1.5% on a sequential quarter-on-quarter basis. That still translates into a fairly steady year-over-year growth in excess of 25%.